In this module, we're going to continue focusing on NHair. Now, in the last module, we primarily took a look at how to create NHair and how to work with the dynamics on NHair. In this module, we're going to focus a bit more on actually creating different styles with the hair as well as rendering the hair. So let's get right into it. Alright, so we're back here inside of Maya, and it's pretty much the exact file we left off at the end of the last module. So we have the cache on here now. You can see I can select any frame I want and it jumps right to that. There's no simulation required. However, if we're going to change this hairstyle, I want to remove this cache so it goes back to simulating. So I'll go ahead and just select my hair system, go up to End Cache, and I'm just going to hit Delete Cache, and that's all we need to do. If I select, let's say, frame 50 now, you can see the head moves, the hair doesn't. So we're back to a point where we need to simulate. Alright, so what I want to focus on in this clip is working with the different curve types. So let me go ahead and hide the actual hair here. I can actually just hide this, or I can go to my hair system and go up over here and turn my display quality down. There we go. So if you take a look at the curves we're looking at right now, these are referred to as current position curves. They're bright blue, and you'll notice they have a very smooth quality to them. These curves should never ever be edited. They should not be adjusted in any way. These are literally meant just to be either a visual aid, or they're meant to actually control our geometry, which is what we have them doing as well. But again, they should never be edited. Think of them as a poison blue dart frog. They're bright blue, they're poisonous. Do not edit. The reason is that if we change anything on these curves, it's going to give us very inaccurate results. However, there are versions of these hair curves we can edit. Let's go up over here to our NHair menu. I'll go ahead and rip that off over here. And I'm going to come down here to display and tear that off. Actually, we don't really need this one for right now. So you'll notice here that there's several different types of curves: current, start, and rest. If I click on current, nothing changes. That's what we're looking at. If I click on start, we get these dark blue ones that are actually hard-edged. If I click rest position, I don't get any right now. Let's talk about these start position curves a little bit. These are actually the curves that we start off with. These are fed into the dynamic system. All of the dynamics are performed, and then it outputs these current position curves. So since these start position curves haven't received dynamics yet, we actually are allowed to edit these. So for example, I could come in and, let's say, grab a couple of curves here. I'll go ahead and go to their control vertices. Maybe grab them right there. I have a soft selection turned on. I'm just going to turn that down so it doesn't go all the way to the root there. I don't want to pull it off of the head. And we'll just kind of pull these out, maybe swing them up over this way. All right, something like that I think will do. Let's turn that down a little bit more. Okay, good enough. So I've now edited these curves. Let me just change one more little thing there. Oops. Okay, so they have been edited. Now notice if I go back to my current position, they do appear there. They're smooth. Again, they're piping all the way through. And if I go ahead and hit play to view my dynamics, you'll see that they will start in that position and then slowly kind of fall back down and just react the way any other hair would react. We're literally just changing the position that they start at. And again, you're welcome to come in and edit the curves exactly the way I just showed you. In fact, what I'll do on occasion is if I know I have to edit a lot of curves at once, I might grab a whole bunch of them there, kind of like that. And then I can come up over here to go to my vertex mode for all of them at once. And you can see I could very easily come in here, do a soft selection, grab and begin editing. Just be careful not to pull them off of the head. If you do take the soft selection too high, you can see you can literally start detaching them. Let me make that a little bit more obvious. I'll make that even a bit bigger. And you can see they're literally pulled off of the head there. We definitely don't want that. All right. Now there are other types of curves as well. There's rest position curves. But notice when I set this, there's nothing here. So just as it sounds, start position curves are where the hair begins. Rest position curves are where the hair is going to feel most comfortable once it's all relaxed. It's the position it's going to somewhat try to achieve. Don't think of it, though, as a stiffness setting, though. It's not going to like lock into place. However, as you can see, we currently don't have any of these. We had the option when we originally created the hair to create rest positions, but we didn't. The reason is that we didn't know what position the hair would be in, and it's actually very easy to make rest position curves. All I need to do is grab my curves. So let's say I go to the current position here. We'll go ahead and just select the output curves right there. We'll come up here to end hair, and we'll come over here to set the rest position, and I can set it from start or from current. Right now it doesn't make a difference because they're pretty much the same at frame 1. So I'll say whatever, from current. Give that just a second. Okay. So now if I display my rest position curves, you could see they come off as this kind of reddish orangish color. So let's say maybe for the rest position, let me go ahead and grab these curves here. For the rest position, these will be back to kind of their default position. That way they'll start up in the air, but then they'll kind of fall back down to be, a little bit more normal. Now you can see it's getting a little wonky in there. I'll have to be a little careful about how I actually edit those. So let me go ahead and maybe turn off my soft selection. And notice that these curves are getting a little messed up. Now I could spend some time to come in here and fix them, but we actually have some curve editing tools to help us with some of these operations. Let me show you what those are. Go ahead and exit this, and let's say I select this curve here. I could come up over here to end hair and come over to modify curves. Now again, these are only meant for curves that are allowed to be edited, which would be for start positions and for rest positions. These don't work on current position. And don't worry, you can't mess up. If you try to use it, it'll just tell you no, it won't do it. So for example, I could use a smooth, and you could see it smoothed it right out for me. And now I can maybe go ahead and just kind of gently nudge it kind of back into place a little bit there. There we go. Kind of move that back in a little bit. Whoops. A little bit more there. Just so it's kind of closer to the head there. Okay. Now you will see that there are other tools here as well. Let's smooth this one out as well. And of course you can always work on the smooth factor if you don't want it to smooth as much. But let's grab a couple of these curves over here. I'll grab those. And let's say we choose, and actually am I in my rest position right now? Let me double check. Let's do this in our start position. That way it'll start just kind of in a funky position. Let's try curl. You can see that I have a curl amount and a curl frequency. I'll hit apply, and you can see it can actually start adding some curl to the hair. Now I can do the same over here. Oops, let's not select the mesh. Apply some curl there. And of course you can change the amount of curls and how intense they are. So I'm going to make them less intense but more often. Maybe grab some of these back here. And we'll adjust that, and you can see it's just a slight curl. Now of course the more points you have per curve, the nicer this is going to look. Our curves I believe have 10 points each. So you can see here we also have bend. So I can grab these and bend them. You can see it's going to currently bend in that direction, but you can change that by adjusting the twist over here. So we can bring that up, and you can see it'll bend now kind of into the head. Kind of works as a 360-degree slider. So you can work with that, and you can of course set the bend amount. And then we also have over here scale curvature, which is going to take the existing curvature and exaggerate it. So you can see, kind of starts taking it into the head there. So these aren't the end-all be-all for editing. However, they can be useful. For example, I can use straighten here, which you can see will try to straighten them. Kind of dug into the head a bit there, which I don't particularly like. Try to straighten those out as well. Not really the effect I specifically want there. I think a smooth would probably give me more of what I want. But you can use these. You can also lock or unlock the length so they don't accidentally get longer or shorter as you edit them. Now, again, these aren't the best editing tools we have available to us. We'll take a look at what else we have as well. But this combined with the ability to come in and just edit point by point, we can actually do quite a bit of the work that we need to do. And this really is kind of the core of how we're going to go about editing our hair. There's just going to be some other tools to make it a little bit easier for us. So now I can go ahead, oops, close that off, go back to my current position, and you can see now the hair will kind of wig out a little bit there because it's in that strange position, and ultimately fall back down and go back to its original position. So that's a look at working with our different curve types.